Hi everyone, I'm Sudarshan Jasani Prohit and I am back with my new video. Before I begin, please subscribe to my channel to get a regular update. My today's agenda of discussion has come from my experience of interviewing people at Zenify. To give a brief, Zenify is the company which I started with two of my friends from IIT Madras in 2009, and now I have sold that to Nestle. In my interviews, I used to ask them the reason for their failures. For an example, I used to ask them, why did you get less marks in your 10th standard? Mostly the reasons were that I got sick that year, or I'm from a small town where teachers and schools were not that great. Many times they have told that exams were tough that year, but very few told me that they did not study that year well. To the people who are overweight or who are not fit, I used to ask them why you are overweight or why you are not fit. And most of the time, the reasons were that they are very hardworking, they work for late hours in office and they don't get time to work out. Sometimes they even told that my body is like this only. Even if I eat less, I can gain weight very fast. Or once I finish my office, I go home and I have to give all my time to my wife or kids, so I don't get time to work out. Very few have told that I am actually not keeping the fitness as my priority. Many a times I used to ask them, why did you quit your previous organization? And most of the time the reasons were that they were unable to cope up with their managers. Then I used to ask them why, and they used to tell that the managers used to shout on all the people. He was giving very high targets. Very few used to say that I was not able to manage my relationship with my seniors. What I've understood is most of the time people blame someone else for their failures. They blame either their family members, their friend, their environment, their situation, and sometimes I have heard that they even blame God. They say that God didn't want me to achieve that. For them, everyone else are becoming a roadblock for their success. And actually, God is also one among them who is actually hindering them to get succeeded. They are perfectly fine from themselves. Only the thing is, only the problem are with others. For them, they are the perfect individual on earth, and all the problems are with someone else. And because of them only, they couldn't succeed. Very few have actually taken responsibility for their failures. I think the attitude of taking responsibilities of the failure is the key differentiator between a successful and an unsuccessful individual. I am sure for the person who says that he is overweight because of the busyness in office, he will definitely have someone in office who is completely fit and working for the same time as he does. Or for the one who says that he couldn't get good marks in exam because his school and teachers were not that great, he would definitely have someone in his schools who have got good marks and he's studied from the same teachers and in the same school. And for that individual who said that he quit because of the seniors or the managers, he will definitely have other colleagues who are still continuing, who are getting results, and they are able to cope up with their seniors. When I gave a deep thought to this situation, what I figured out is in life, we always have two parties for all the situations. One is we and one are others. And something is not happening right is also because of the both the parties involved. One is ourselves and one are others. As we know that to make sound, both hands are required. Only one hand cannot make a sound. When both hands come together, then only there is a sound. So because of both the parties, one is we ourselves and the other one is others, we don't achieve the set targets. For not achieving, both the parties are responsible. Sometimes we have more fault and we are more responsible, and sometimes it's the other individual or situations is at more at fault and they are more responsible. But some percentage of fault is there in both of them. So now one has an option. Either he can blame others for the failure or he can take complete responsibility on himself. What I have seen is all successful individuals take complete responsibility of their failures because of one simple reason, that they understand that they cannot go and change others. They can only change themselves. So it's always wise to take complete responsibilities, find out where we were at fault and then try to improve that. So people who take complete responsibility of their failures, they understand the situation and find out the fault of their own. They find out that these are the areas where they have to improve, and then when they work on that, the next time they don't repeat those mistakes. So whenever they don't repeat those mistakes, at least their part of fault is not there in the situation, so they are better off, right? So the chances of succeeding increases. You take an example, like I have heard about Sachin Tendulkar. When he used to get out on some balls, then he used to go back and practice on the net the same ball again and again, so that the next time whenever he comes and play, he should not get out on the same or similar ball. He doesn't complain that the bowler was too good or the pitch was not fine or the lightings were not right. He just find out what was his fault, and then he goes back and try to improve himself and come out of that fault, so that the next time when he comes well prepared and he is better than the previous match. In 11th century, one bishop was there, and when he died, on his tombstone, one beautiful things were written. Let me just read it out for you. When I was young and free, my imagination had no limits. I dreamed of changing the world. But as I grew older and wiser, I discovered that the world would not change. So I shortened my sight somewhat and decided to change my country. But it too seemed immovable. As I grew in my twilight years, in one last desperate attempt, I settled to change my family, those closest to me, but I couldn't change them also. And now I am lying on my deathbed. I suddenly realized, if I had only changed myself first, then by example I would have changed my family. From their inspiration and encouragement, I would have been able to do my country better. And who knows, I may have even changed my world. So the complete understanding is that one should not blame others because it's impossible to change others. The only thing which you can change in a situation so that when next time the same situation comes, then you are better off, is find out your faults and try to improve that, so that next time whenever the same situation comes, you have improved yourself and you are better off. Still, I have seen most of us blame others for their failures. When I try to think about that, what I understood is that it is an easier path to take. Whenever we blame someone else for their failure, we feel ourselves that we are perfect, we don't have any problem, it's the other person because of whom the problem has happened, and then we don't work on ourselves to improve ourselves. And we only get into one small world where we feel that we are all fine and all the other people has the problems with them, that's why we are not succeeding. And then we don't work on improving ourselves and waste our time in all the other fun activities rather than working on improving ourselves. So it is as an easier path to take. That is why most people try to blame others so that they don't have a burden or responsibility of the failure. They have given it to someone else and then they are free of the results. But this is a loser attitude. This short-term happiness gives long-term sadness. Whenever we don't work on ourselves, we don't find out our fault and work on that for a lifetime, we behave as a loser. That is why people who blame others will remain as a loser, and people who take responsibilities of the failure become successful. So I would suggest 5 things which all of us must do. The very first is always look for your weak areas which you need to improve. Ideally, we all must have a list of things which give us a failure or where we have to improve. For an example, let's say we figure out that we have a problem with our anger. We get angry very easily, right? So we all must know that we have this problem and we must work on improving that. Second thing would be that we must keep a higher target from ourselves. What happened that whenever we are in a situation where we got failure and when we are trying to analyze it, then we find out that we are asking too much from ourselves. We had a very small fault of let's say 20-30% and other people have 80% fault. Still we are trying to improve ourselves. Why is it so? We must not also work on improving ourselves. Then that's a problem. So that's why what I would suggest is that we must have a very high target from ourselves. We must set that I must be perfect. I have to work on myself. I must have the best behavior possible. If we have a higher target from ourselves, then it would be easier to analyze the situation and try to work on it. Third thing would be that we must be honest with ourselves. Let's say we figure out that this is the fault in us. Then we must know where do we stand. For example, let's say you get angry easily. So you must understand in 10 situations for how many times, how often you get angry. Is it 6, 7 or 2? When you can rate yourself correctly, then you can actually work on that very well. So you should be self-honest on what exactly the problems you have and where do you stand. So once you have figured out the area of improvement and you have set a higher target from yourself and you know where exactly you stand, then we all must work towards improving ourselves so that we must reach our target of the standards which I have set. For example, let's say you figured out that you lie. Many times you lie and you want to improve it. You have set a target that I must never lie in my life. Right? And then you have said that 50% of the time I generally lie. So you should now work on improving that 50% to 100% which you set as your goal. So fourth would be that improving your level, right? Self-improvement. And then fifth and last would be that let's say you tried hard but you are not reaching the target which you have set. Then again you must keep yourself responsible for not achieving it. You should not get into that loop again. You should be keeping in mind that it's my incapability that I'm not able to improve myself. So the final thing would be stop blaming others, look at ourselves and do the hard work of resolving the issues that are causing us the problems. Let's say if you are not able to build a good relationship with someone else, maybe someone in your family or someone from your office circle, then you must always try to figure out that how you can improve so that you can make that relationship better. Many times while on this process, this is from my personal experience, that many times you find out that I am the only person who is trying to improve myself and rest all are actually enjoying their time. Is it worthwhile of putting so much of efforts to improve myself in my behavior, in my character? Is it really required, or will I be able to make any changes? Then always remember one thing, that it's always one individual vision who has changed the world. It's one individual vision. Like you can take Mahatma Gandhi. It was his vision that India must get independence, and then he took people with him for a better change, for the independence. So once you start working on yourself, people around you will automatically get encouraged, will automatically get motivated, and they will also work on themselves, and by that whole world will become a better place to live. So take a resolution, start working on yourself and be better every day. This is it from today's video. If you have liked, then please work on yourself and improve yourself, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.